Aleksandar, in terms of danger and finishing ability between opponents you fought so far, do you think that Thiago Santos is the most dangerous out of everyone you fought?
Yeah, probably. He's very dangerous, you know, with his kicks, his strikes. He's very explosive, and I had some dangerous guys also, like Jimmy and Volkan, and there are those top elite fighters, you know. And like I said, Santos is the third former title challenger in a row, and this is something, you know. So we are all dangerous in this sport, and all dangerous especially in the top 15, you know. But anyways, UFC is the best league in the world, and the best fighters are there, so everything can happen. And yeah.
Song back here, just one for me. You know, for Yan Jiaonan's last training camp, I know she was working with you at Alpha Male, and I'm just curious what that was like, you know, working with her and what you see in her potential and how far she can go.
他说之前小南的备战是跟你一起在 Team Alpha Male，他想你就是说评价一下，你觉得小南他能够发展的是什么样子？
要南，我跟他在Team Alpha Male练过一段时间，我觉得他是一个非常有冲劲儿的、有爆发力的一个选手，对，而且他就是我觉得他是我见过就是女性选手里面就是就比较意志力比较强、比较坚强那种。就是对，我看过他的比赛，我也特别欣赏他，我觉得他可以成为下一个冠军。
Yeah, he's been training with Shauna for a while at Team Alpha Male, and he thinks that Shauna is a really like explosive, a kind of fighter, and then he thinks Shauna is also a very strong-minded female fighter, probably the best he's seen, and then he really looked into like Shauna could get a championship.
Down back here. Just at this stage in your career, do you have any specific goals right now, or is it just, you know, going fight by fight?
Yeah, fight by fight, man. You have to stay in the present moment. When you start moving to the future, things start getting ugly.
Fair enough. And I know that recently you started a footwork tutorial of sorts. Just like, what was the inspiration behind putting that together?
I think it's important for, you know, everybody, the sport, to always be giving back to it. I started this thing when it was illegal in a lot of states. We were called by John McCain human cockfighters. Like, that's what they called us. Like, that's insane to me that I was fighting during that time. And you had to, you know, I'm fighting guys I'm training with guys that are getting off their lunch break at Lowe's Home Improvement, training with me to get ready for fights. I had to line up 5 guys in all different aspects and try to figure out a way to prepare for my fight. It's a different era. So it's just crazy to watch how everything's changed.
And as for this fight with Kenny, do you feel like any additional pressure at all, you know, going against somebody who's unranked for once?
Like I said about the rankings, like, it's about pay. If he was getting paid more, he'd be ranked. Facts, that's a fact.
And, you know, one of your former teammates, Takumi Tamaru, you know, he's making his big promotional debut at Rising 27 in 2 weeks. Just, you know, having trained with him in your analytical mind, just what do you make of him as a prospect and how far you can go in the sport?
Well, anybody that I've trained with so many people, man. And a lot of Japanese fighters, I trained with Chinese fighters, I trained with people from Thailand. Like, when I train with guys, you're just beating the crap out of each other, and you're in training with all the gear on, and you know, you never know what day they come on. Did they miss wrestling day before sparring day? If they did, then they're a little bit more fresh. It's hard to tell, to be perfectly honest, but the guys that I train with that prepare me for my fights are the ones that really stick with me, because they're part of the journey that helps me get to where I need to be, you know. So I have all the best for everybody I train with, because I've never had ill wills with any of them. And I respect all the fighters out there, because this is a tough sport. So every one of these fighters, I respect. I hope the best for them.
Of course. Well, happy early birthday, Dom. Thank you.
Thank you.
Tim back here. I know you've worked closely with Megan Anderson in the past, so just curious what your thoughts are on the matchup. she has coming up?
I mean, obviously, it's a tough fight, but when you're at the top of the game for so long and you've been at the top, there's nowhere really to go except for down. And as a guy who's had a kid, it doesn't make things easier as far as training goes. It takes time away from your training. It takes time away from sleep. It takes time away from recovery. It takes time away from every aspect of your life. So if ever there was a time for somebody to beat her, I think now's the time. And Megan might just be the one. She's a handful, man. I'm telling you, I've sparred with her. I watched her fight her very first fight in Kansas City at Invicta. Her coaches, this was before James Krause, her coaches weren't saying anything to her. I was screaming shit from the stands, like trying to help coach her, and then she came to our gym. I feel like this might be her weekend, and the strap's going to come home to Kansas City, and it's not just good for James Krause and me, it's good for our whole team.
Thanks, Tim. Good luck.
We were just talking about moving events a little bit, and you've been a part of that with UFC 232, of course. Just some craziness getting here to the title fight. Is a little bit par for the course that we're doing it in an empty building with no fans for you?
I don't really think about it, to be honest. Whether it's in front of 60,000 people or zero, I don't really care. I'm here to do a job. Obviously, fans make it a little bit more exciting, but at the end of the day, you got to block out all of that noise and put on a performance.
And for Dana, with Bilal Muhammad versus Leon Edwards, is it possible if Bilal goes in and pulls this off that he could be next in line for a title shot?
Yeah, I mean anything's possible in that division right now. So we'll see how it turns out.
Amanda back here. Just being in the position you are as, the consensus greatest of all time female fighter, I'm curious what you would say has been the defining moment for women in MMA?
Say it again, the question?
What would you say has been the defining moment throughout history in, women's mixed martial arts?
Defining, like, the biggest moment? I have a lot of big moments, honestly. Like, my fight against Chris Cyborg was one of the biggest, against Ronda, against so many. Tonight was a big one, UFC 200. When I become, was so many. I feel like the women's MMA, in the UFC, it grows so fast. If it depends on me, it's gonna go to the top.
Yeah, and you just mentioned Chris Cyborg right there. She had a bus outside, which who knows what that means. But what do you make of her, continued interest in a rematch with you? Is that something that, if possible, you would like to run back?
Yeah, if she would stay, I don't have any problem giving the rematch to her. But she left, so that is not my fault.
Well, congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dana, back here.
Yeah.
You mentioned the problems with judging these days that we've been having, and I know that in the past you've banned referees from officiating at UFC events. Is it possible to do the same with judges?
I don't think that's necessary. I just think that for some reason, all of a sudden, these guys are scoring 10-8s for rounds that are clearly not 10-8s. I mean, how did you address this? I mean, what do you think? It's the criteria they're giving them right now. I think they're getting some bad advice. Yeah.
And, UFC 261, you said was kind of targeted or looked at for Singapore. Just kind of curious what happened with that situation.
We're still going to Singapore. It's just not when we thought we were.
Okay, so not that event then.
The world is really fucked up right now.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
All right, Dana, thanks. Jan, back here. You're a former KSW light heavyweight champion, and I'm just curious, if you continue to follow the promotion, if you've seen Thomas Narkun and what you think of his potential in MMA.
We train together sometimes. He helped me, I help him. So this cooperation is really good for both of us. We are friends. He's a good fighter. And if someday we go to maybe he go to UFC, I don't know what he has planned. So for sure he's gonna be in the top of the division. I believe in that. But he need to, first sign the contract.
Right. Do you guys kind of have a little friendly rivalry of maybe who's the best light heavyweight from Poland?
Not the question. I am the best. I am the best in the world, not in the Poland. So it's a simple answer.
Fair enough. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Oh hey, you made it to the end. Thanks for watching, really appreciate it. If you like this video and want to see more like it, give it a like and maybe subscribe if you haven't already. Until then, we'll see you next time.